here at home.
General Muhoozi replies BobiWine's speech at the Geneva summit, calling for sanctions for him and his father, says mugende mwejire go yourselves. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba alabudde abazungu n'abagamba mugende mwejire bye bigambo ebiraba ku screen yo ebyabadde mu speech ya Geneva. Agamba temulina kye mugamba General Otafiire ono agambye naye essaawa yonna wakumukwata era ajja kubeera mu maaso ge singa taata we President Museveni agamba bwe papa Munnayuganda nkusaba sookulekinge. Muhoozi akedde mukambwe speech ya BobiWine yamutabudde era nemunyiriza ddala wabula ono agambye nti Kano Kizza Besigye ono naye amulabudde n'amugamba nti ono yali ayagala kutta kitaawe era kitaawe wakisa nnyo singa abakuba ye singa ono yamuteeka dda essasi mu kyemba nga n'abawe amaziga ge baakaaba agaakala. Kakati tutandike na General Otafiire. Muhoozi atandise bw'ati olwaleero. Otafiire ng'avaayo agamba nti omukulu atajja kubeera president ye tayinza kubanga abikkiriza. Kati General Muhoozi avuddeyo n'agamba nti let Muzeeyi decide what to do with Honorable Otafiire. Muzeeyi agamba taata we Museveni asalewo ku ki ekyokukolera omukulu ayitibwa General Kahinda Otafiire. Agamba nti tekijja tutwalira yadde half a second, tekijja tutwalira yadde ekitundu kya katikitiki okulaba nga ono tumukutte ntumuteeka mukomyo. Otafiire agambye lol ebeera phrase oli abanga aseka amagye mu ngoli wanayogera ekintu n'obwatuka n'osikala no bye bigambo ebyo akagambako Otafiire n'amusekera n'amugamba gwe olabika atomanyi nakyozanya nakyo. Kati n'ayongerako n'agamba nti Honorable Otafiire should stop trying to use my name or to use me in his fights with my father. Kati wano aba abotodde ekyama. General Otafiire Muhoozi agamba nti alina olutalo olw'amaanyi nnyo ne General Yoweri Museveni era nga obanga obadde ogobera General Muhoozi obadde ogobera General Otafiire wamma oyinza okugamba Muhoozi yandibanga ayogedde amazima olw'ensonga nti General Otafiire azenga ku njuyi ez'enjawulo emyaka 2-3 egisembyeyo nga ayogera ebitakugenda maaso bulungi mu ggwanga ono ng'avaayo nga mukambwe nnyo nga erebya ddala ayogerera ddala abeera outspoken. Kakati Muhoozi agambye nti waliwo olutalo olw'amaanyi between General Otafiire ate kosa ne kitaawe ayitibwa President Museveni era n'agamba nti he has a very big problem with Muzeeyi. Alina obuzibu obw'amaanyi General Otafiire ne Museveni oba ne Muzeeyi. Agamba nti he knows it, let us see if Muzeeyi arrests him. Kakati embeera yeeyo eriyo kitegeeza nti waliwo obunkenke mu magye g'eggwanga n'ebyokwerinda. Jjukira Minister of Foreign Affairs yaba akulira bano bonna ebyokwerinda byonna eby'eggwanga bibeera wansi we biri wansi wani General Otafiire. General Otafiire Muhoozi agambye nti ono alina obuzibu bw'amaanyi ennyo ne kitaawe. Tugende mu maaso ne tukkira ku Robert Kyagulanyi Center BobiWine agambye bw'ati agambye nti mmwe abazungu agambye nti BobiWine afaanana nga babuuni si yenkobe agambye mbw afaanana nga kabina tugende maaso. Bw'avudde awo n'agamba this is ono ye muntu abazungu gwe baagala abeere president w'eggwanga eddungi lino. N'agamba nedda tekijja kusoboka era n'ayongerako n'agamba nti they can go and fuck themselves, bagende beegire. Kigambo kya Luganda kibibikkako kiri eky'abazungu naawe osokubanga okyesomera awo ku screen yo. Muhoozi agambe abazungu baagala omuntu gwe babaagala okuleeta afaanana obubi. Muhoozi agamba bwene afaanana bubi kyokka abazungu gwe baagala okuleeta afuge eggwanga lino eddungi. Agambye nedda. Nayongerako n'agamba nti BobiWine ono ebigambo ebimu mu nkozesa byakozesa tetugenda bikozesa wano naye naawe osooka nga obisoma abula amuvuma buvumi. Agamba nti BobiWine ono alowooza nti agenda kukozesa abazungu bafule Uganda ensi ey'abaddu. Agambye nti tekigenda kuba nga kisoboka wano wennyini mu linnya lya Yesu Kristo. N'agamba nti Katonda waffe bannayuganda yatusuubiza era atusuubiza nti BobiWine ne nuupu ye bajja kubanga bagisiimulira ddala. Agongerako bw'ati n'agamba nti BobiWine kika Museveni mbu yakyabalemesezza yekka okulaba nga bajjawo Kano Kizza Besigye ebigambo bya CDF akulira amagye ate nga mutabani w'omukulembeze w'eggwanga Muhoozi Kainerugaba. N'ayongerako n'agamba nti Besigye yagala okutta Museveni. Besigye yagala okutta Museveni. N'agamba nti so as far as we are concerned UPDF he is a dead man walking. Besigye yafadde mulambo ogutambula okusinziira ku kyeri ayagala ekyokubanga atta General Kaguta Museveni abadde mukambwe nnyo era n'agamba nti Bobi Wine ono yonna gye yeekukumye essaawa yonna bajja kumukimayo wabula agambye nti ebyo ebya Geneva Summit agira abeeramu ebyo tajja kubanga okategedde bulungi nnyo osobola kubanga okasema Bobi Wine sigalamu ebyo bya Geneva byokka wano tojja kubanga osobola kubanga ofuga era agambye taliddamu kwesimba ku kitaawe General Muhoozi mukambwe this time round.
Kana akaliro kyagulanye ke yakuma tekagenda kuzikira nga Munnayuganda tokafunyeemu. Tekagenda kuzikira ng'eggwanga Uganda teriteredde. Njagala owulirize ebigambo olyoke otegeere nti struggle gye tulimu globally waliwo bangi abali mu struggle ezifaanaganako bwe ziti. Waliwo bangi abafugibwa abantu abafaanaganako nga Museveni. Osegera naye ku mulundi guno tebakyekweka luli beekwekanga kasita omala omujjayo n'omuteeka mu mataala ng'olwo ebibye biwedde. Era njagala mbabuulire nti eno situlago tewali wegenda kuggwera nga Munnayuganda akaaba. Munnayuganda yagenda okusemba. Uliriza vidiyo eno egenda bbeera mpanvu naye tambuza etuuke ku buli munno mukwano gwo omuntu yenna Munnayuganda yenna. Yes, uliriza.
I have witnessed that after proof of torture, political prisoners, persecution, killings, forced disappearances, massive protest, massive exile, I have seen with my eyes and heard with my ears the countries that stand up to defend the regime of Nicolás Maduro. I have seen Iran, China, Eritrea, Zimbabwe, Uganda, North Korea, going one after the other, just supporting the atrocities committed by the regime of Nicolás Maduro. And it's like an orchestra. When they come here and reports are presented, they support each other. We need to make the distinction between the people that make the reports, the NGOs, the professionals that go to the ground and risk their lives. Many of them work for the UN. But after they present those reports, unfortunately, nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's like an orchestra that is not heard. We have seen with shock and with joy, in the case of Venezuela, the capture of Nicolás Maduro, the head of a criminal organization that was torturing and subjecting our country of millions of people on January the 3rd. Venezuelans celebrated with joy. More than 80% of the Venezuelan people celebrated the capture of Nicolás Maduro. But very early, we started to hear some objections. Objections with words that become common in these halls. Objections saying that was done capturing a criminal responsible for thousands of people being killed, disappearances, thousands of people being sent to prison, massive exile, saying that his capture was a war crime. We also heard objections saying that what happened in Venezuela was a violation of sovereignty. A violation of sovereignty in a country that a year and a half ago celebrated the most sacred of all sovereignties, which is the sovereignty of the people. It's bewildering to hear people talk about sovereignty of a dictator and not defending the sovereignty of the people that voted, and we were able to prove that those were the results, and then they defend the stability of the dictator. We have heard claims about international law. People nervous about breaking the international law because of the capture of a dictator, of a criminal. The international law that did not support millions of Venezuelans while they were being victims of the crimes committed by Nicolás Maduro and his regime. So unfortunately, this international structure, these international laws, these international and multilateral buildings are not delivering to the people. They are certainly not delivering to the voices sitting here in this room today. And we have heard once and again from one country to the other that we are frustrated because it's only words, it's only paper, it's only tears, but no action. The world requires action. And we got action in Venezuela, and we celebrate that action. We celebrate the action led by the United States. And let me tell you something that might be shocking to many. More than 60% of the people in Latin America, not Venezuela, of Latin America, celebrate the capture of Nicolás Maduro. So something is happening. Something is happening. Maybe people are not listening, but the people that maybe 10 or 20 or 30 years ago had flags against the United States, today they were celebrating that Nicolás Maduro was captured. Iranians celebrated. I was in a call that day with my friend BobiWine's. He was in the middle of an election. He called me. He was in his rally. And he said, let's go live. We went live. And he was saying in his rally, the same way Maduro left, Museveni is going to live. But what was the fate of BobiWine's? The same fate that we had in Venezuela. He won the election, and the election was stolen. And we can go over and over with many of the other cases. But let me go back to Venezuela. Many people ask us, how are things in Venezuela? Simple, much better than they were on January the 2nd. Much better than they were on January the 2nd. But not where we hope them to be. They are not where we hope them to be. Because for years, we have been fighting for an idea that for some it's theoretical. For us, it's vital. We have been fighting for freedom. And we understand what freedom is, not from theory, not from poetry, not from music. We learned what freedom is. I myself did when I was in a solitary confinement cell for 4 years and condemned to confinement for 7 years. And I understood that freedom is not one thing. Freedom is the sum of many things. Freedom is the possibility to do what I'm doing today that I cannot do in my country, to speak. Freedom is the possibility to move around. Freedom is the possibility to gather with whomever you want to gather. Freedom is the possibility to wear what you want to wear. In the case of Iran, Afghanistan, if women want to wear the hijab or not to wear it. Freedom is the possibility to believe in whoever you want to believe or not to believe if you don't want to believe. And we just heard that there are hundreds of thousands of prisoners because of their belief. And freedom cannot happen without democracy. And democracy cannot happen without elections. So what we hope for, and what we are fighting for, and what we will deliver to the people of Venezuela, and what is the main responsibility of the Venezuelan leadership led by the legitimate elected president Edmundo González Urrutia, and the legitimate leadership of Maria Corina Machado, is to go to the people through a free and fair elections for the Venezuelan people to make that transition to democracy. That is our hope, that is our dream, that is our commitment, and that will be the good news that we will deliver to all of you. And we will know, and I'll end with this, that when Venezuela transitions to democracy, Cuba will transition to democracy, Nicaragua will transition to democracy, and the impact will be felt in Africa, in Asia, in Eastern Europe, and in the Middle East, because this fight, my dear friends, it's a global fight for freedom. So long live freedom, long live the political activists, the human rights defenders, and the women and the men that believe and give their lives to freedom, human rights, and democracy. Thank you very much.